That's the concept I have. Okay, so any other contribution, questions, suggestions before we answer this question, example 11? Okay, so let's move. Can you please screenshot this so that you can use it for your solutions, right? Okay, so I'm going to read. Example 11, Pantum. Pantum Limited is considering whether or not to undertake an order from a customer. It is trying to establish the relevant cost of the order. The order would require 3,000 kilos of material W. So what are we trying to establish? The relevant cost of the order. Okay? We require 3,000 kilos of material W to do this work, to execute this order. But already there are over 3,000 kilos of material held in inventory. So we already have more than 3,000 kilos in our stores. Okay? Material W is no longer in regular use. Okay, can you follow the flow chart? Is no longer in regular use by the company and could be sold for scrap at 1.1 per kilo. It could also be used as a substitute for material Z, which is in regular use for making another product. Material Z can be purchased for £4 per kilo. To use material W as a substitute for material Z, conversion cost of 1.6 per kilo would have to be spent on material W. 1 kilo of material W after conversion would be a substitute for 1 kilo of material Z. Okay, then you talk about skilled labor will be needed to fulfill the order, will be specifically recruited. Okay, before we go to the skill, let's look at the materials. Now, let's go back to our flow chart. Let's go back to our flow chart. In this question, is the material in stock?
Yes, the material is in stock.
Okay, good. The material is in stock. Okay. Is the material in constant use? Maybe they may not specifically say it, but you will be able to know from what they're saying whether the material is in constant use.
No, it's not in a regular use, huh?
Okay, they mentioned it in the question that it's not in regular use. So that's a no. So the next question is the material scarce? Okay, is the material scarce? If the material is scarce, we use opportunity cost. Okay, and they have given us data whereby we can use opportunity cost. Okay, they've not mentioned directly that the material is scarce, but they have given us data that will enable us to use opportunity cost. So naturally, we will throw this alternative out. Okay, so because they have given us data that shows us opportunity cost, so that means yes, the material is scarce. So if the material is scarce, we use opportunity cost. That's why we have this alternative. So what is the opportunity cost? The opportunity cost, you have to compare two things. So the first alternative is material W. Where's the first alternative? Material W is no longer in regular use by the company, and the first alternative, it could be sold for scrap at 1.5 per kilo. So that's the first option. Okay, one. So two, it could also be used as a substitute for material Z. It could be sold as scrap and it could be used as a substitute. Okay, which is in regular use, whatever. Material Z can be purchased for 4 per kilo. To use it as a substitute for material Z, conversion cost of 1. So if you use it as a substitute, you have to incur an extra cost of 1.6 per kilo. So that means that 1.6 per kilo, you need to knock it off from the 4 pound per kilo. Okay, if you do that, you'll be left with what? 1.4. So now is the 1.4, sorry, it's not 1.4, it will be 2.4, isn't it? 1.6 minus 4 kilos is how much? 2.4, isn't it?
2.4.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's 2.4.
So is that 2.4 that you will compare with 1.5? So the best alternative will be the 2.4. Okay? So please understand it that way. So the flow chart is very, very, very important. So we go to the skilled labor. Skilled labor needed to fulfill the order would be specifically recruited for 50,000 pounds. So let's go to our labor flow chart. Is the labor in permanent employment? The labor that we're going to use for this order, is it in permanent employment? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes. It's in permanent employment.
Hey, let me go back. Skilled labor needed to fulfill order would be specifically recruited. Is the labor in permanent employment?
No.
No, because they are going to recruit them. So now, if we're going to recruit them purposely for this order, then that means everything that we spend on them will be a relevant cost. So the whole of the 50,000 will be a relevant cost. But take note of this point, because in answering a question like this, the calculations are always very easy. Well, you need to explain, just like I'm explaining. Okay? The explanation will give you maybe 60% of the mark. The calculation will only give you 40% of the mark. Okay, so please take note of that. So unskilled labor needed to fulfill the order would be transferred from another department. Okay, they will be transferred from another department. The cost of labor time, 3,000 hours, would be 30,000 pounds in wages. However, 1,500 of these hours will be idle. Idle time. What is idle time? What is idle time?
That means unutilized.
Unutilized time. Okay. To say it clearly,
It's a time spent not working.
is the time spent not working. Okay. So yeah, correct. But then to make it clearer, an idle time.
It's during break hours.
No, some breaks may not be. Some breaks are allowed. Some breaks are allowed.
Mr. Fofana.
The French breaks, if I'm going to put it that way, the unallowed breaks are the ones that are idle time. Okay?
Yes, I think the idle time is the time spent at work doing irrelevant stuff, like things that I'm doing, stuff that are not related to work during working hours.
Okay, yeah, that's one example of them. Fine, but to some, yes.
Is it not be the excess of hours that need to be used, like to be in full, like how do I call it? It's the excess hours.
With excess hours.
Which is not being used. Yes.
The excess hours not being used
by the staff. Yes, because hence the person is having small some works to do that is not engaging him fully.
Excess hours.
Yes, the person is underutilized so far, one can say.
Underutilized.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah. It could, idle time could be due to the staff not being utilized. Yes, that is true. But in actual sense, what idle time means is the time that the hours that you spend at work or the days that you spend at work that you are paid for, but then you have not done any work for your employer. Okay? You are supposed to work let's say, 8 hours in a day from let's say 8 o'clock to 4 p.m. Okay, but out of that, at least you are allowed 1 hour break for your food and for your prayers and stuff like that. But after that 1 hour, the 7 hours that remains, you are supposed to use that actively on the employer's work. So if you use those 7 hours to go and visit markets or to log onto Facebook or WhatsApp or going from one table to the other gossiping, talking about politics or whatever you do to waste that time is considered as idle time. And you may not be forgiven for doing it because your employer is paying you for that time, but you are not delivering. Okay? So many of them we have. So many idle times we have at workplaces. So many of them. Okay? In the West, idle time is usually very minimum. They make sure you work for every cent, for every penny. Okay? You have to work. That's why supervisors will keep monitoring you. The time you come to clock in, they must ensure that you go to work. If your break times come, you will be relieved to go for your breaks. But even if if your breaks are over, you won't have even a minute. Even a minute. They will ensure that you go back to work. Okay. In some organizations, I remember in UK, if you clock in 15 minutes late, okay, you get deducted 1 hour. More than 15 minutes, you get deducted 1 hour. Okay, so lateness is unacceptable. And for us, lateness is our bread and butter. We don't appear at workplaces, we don't appear at functions on time. Lateness, and it's a big crime. Go anywhere in the world where there is development, they have not developed without punctuality. Go to work. You can be doing other things at work, but go there on time. But how many of them go to work or go to functions on time? They'll say, Gambian time. If you go there, you won't find people there. Another problem of ours, which we need to change.
Hello,
Okay.
Mr. Fogg.
Yes, Mr. Nyan.
It is saying that this 1,500 hours is being, that means the unskilled is transferred from another department.
Yes.
So that means this idle time is from other department that is underutilizing this unskilled staff.
The idle time is?
Like it is saying that if the order is not taken, the idle
Okay,
time.
let's read what it says. It says that unskilled labor needed to fulfill the order will be transferred from another department. Okay, another department of the same company. The cost of labor, 3,000 hours would be 30,000 in wages. Okay, that's by those people. However, 1,500 of these hours will be idle time if the order is not undertaken. The other 1,500 will be spent on work that will provide a contribution of 5,000. Okay, so what's happening here? The first 1,500 will be idle time, which will have to be treated as idle time. The other 1,500, because it's transferred from another department, okay, so it's going to be a relevant cost for this order. And because you're going to transfer from another department, there will be losses of 5,000, which is an opportunity cost, which will become a cost in this order. Okay, is it clear, Usman?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. So let's go and do this question, please. Make sure you screenshot it so we do it, yeah? Okay, so I'm going to open my, where is my file for accounting for short-term decision making? There you go, that's the one. Okay, so get ready, make sure you screenshot it. Make sure you screenshot it so we can answer it. It's not gonna take time. It's a very easy question. After answering it, then we'll call it a day until on Tuesday, inshallah. Right, Tuesday at 5 o'clock, as usual. So we do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Hopefully, we should finish the syllabus and take our exams. So I'm going to add a new worksheet, but before that, let me zoom this to 150%. So I'm going to add a new worksheet, and I'm going to call it EG11. Okay, EG11. Right, so what are we preparing? A relevant cost statement, and it's for Quantum Limited. So I'll just write Quantum Limited relevant cost statement. Okay, relevant cost statement. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our calculation here. We're going to do our calculation here, and then we do our explanation on the side. Okay, so we're going to do our calculation and do our explanation on the side. Okay, so this will be 2 columns. Relevant cost statement. So we'll have cost description, and amount, the cost amount. Good. So I'm going to align this to the right. Numbers are always aligned to the right. And I'm going to format it to a financial number formatting. And I'm going to increase the font size for the whole workbook to, sorry, for the whole worksheet to 12, so it can look clearer. Okay, good. So just on the side, we're going to have notes. Okay. We're going to have notes, okay, and our notes will be written here. Okay, so I'm going to format this also. I'm going to highlight the whole of column D. I format it so that the text can be wrapped. Okay, and I'll format it so that the area that I'm going to use to type will have a background color of green, light green, okay, so they can stand out. So this will be my relevant cost statement. I do my bit of formatting. I do the alignment here. I make it bold. I increase the font size to 18. I merge the cell. I align it to the right. And I'll give the text a green color. Okay. And then I'll do the same thing to the relevant cost statement. So instead of doing all that, I'm just going to use the format painter. Just click on the format painter. I click here once, all the format will be replicated here. But this time around, I don't want it to go to 18. I want it to be lower than 18, so I want 14. And I'll give it a different color. Let's say I want to use red color. just like that. Okay, so this is the way my statement is going to look like. Okay, so I'm going to make the headings also bold, and I'll underline them.
It's 17 hours.
Okay, so what we can do is, it's 5 o'clock now. Can we take a 10 minutes break for those who want to pray, and then we come back and answer this question? Yeah? Is that agreeable by everyone? Let's take a 10 minutes break, so we come back at 10 past 5.
How long will the answering take?
Oh, maybe 15, 20 minutes. But we have to break because we will not treat those who want to pray on time fairly. So let's break. Okay?
Okay, yes.
The answering won't take time. I know it will be under 30 minutes. That's all. There are people who want to pray on time. Okay? So let's give them.
I thought that we could finish it before maybe after 10 past, but we can break and come back.
Sorry?
I said I thought we could finish before maybe around quarter past. But I don't think that's possible.
No, let's break. Let's break.
Let's break, yes.
Yes.